Hello everybody, Will Snyder here from the Mill Creek subdivision. And several of you recently have asked me to maybe do a video on some of my techniques that I use when I'm weathering freight cars. And I have the tendency to keep weathering rather subtle for everyday use. Occasionally I'll do a car that's weathered a little bit more, but anyway, I'm going to attempt to shoot this video and take you through step by step what I do. There are a lot of good techniques out there. There are a lot of good people that do some fantastic weathering, and I'm going to try to share what I do in hopes that it'll encourage some people to try some weathering, and some people can see what I do that's been curious, and I think they've been thinking about trying it. So bear with me. I will be cutting this video off a lot to help save time so that this is not an extremely long video. But what we're going to do, we're going to start with basically airbrushing a spray around the base of the car. And I'll be doing this basically with two separate colors. The first one is Tamiya XF72, which is a brown, and then I'll come back and do a light spray of Hobby Color 335 Sea Gray. And this is just basically, it's the dirt that kicks up around the base of the car. A lot of dust from the ballast and debris. You'll notice that a car normally weathers a little heavier at the bottom of the freight car than it does at the top. So I'm going to cut this video for now and mix up a little bit of paint and put her back on as we start to do things. Okay, so here we go. And the first coat is with the brown color, and basically I'm just going to spray a light dusting right around the base of the car. And this is typically where dirt would just kick up. So as you can see, we're just keeping it light, getting a fair amount of it on the wheels and trucks themselves. And that is just about what we want. I'll give just a second coat there. I don't think it's quite heavy enough. So, if you all can see this, I hope. It's just two light coats going around the base of it. And I'm going to cut this while I mix the second color. Okay, so I've got the gray mixture now, and we're just going to give another light coat of the gray. You can see it's just that kicked up dirt. Stone dust and debris. And that concludes that. I'll let that dry and we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, I'm back as we get into the next phase of this. Well, what we're going to do now is apply an enamel wash. We're going to be putting it on with a Q-tip and then rubbing it back off so that the wash basically darkens in around lines, panels, rivets, things like that. I use either MIG Products Dark Streaking Grime or AK Interactive Streaking Grime. I find both products to be very good. I do have a little preference on the rust colors. I kind of like the MIG product just a hair better in color, but that's my own personal preference. But anyway, what we're going to do is shake this bottle up, and then we'll apply some on a Q-tip. And rub it over the body of the car, as thus. And only do so much at a time. Don't get yourself too far ahead or in too much of a rush. I'm going to come up to this door for this demonstration. And after we put it on, take a nice soft cotton cloth. I use old t-shirts that have gotten holes in them, and we're going to take off all the heavy paint. And if you get an area that you feel that there's just a little too much on you can't get off, you can always take a Q-tip and get in there and pick around. But now you can see, let's see if I can do this. You can see the car has gotten a little bit darker in its look. And when I'm finished the project, we'll shoot the car in a little bit better lighting. Unfortunately, my shop lighting's not the best. But all right, so I'm going to basically cut the tape and finish the enamel wash the whole way around the car, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I am in the process of finishing this car up, and as far as the streaking grime, and I wanted to point out, like on this roof, when you apply the streaking grime, then you want to wipe it down, wipe the excess off. You're always going to have a little bit of heaviness up at the top, and what you want to do is take a Q-tip and kind of pull that down, so that basically what you get is a natural look of dirt that would run off during a rain, get some streaking. You'll have a much natural look. Another good item you'll find that you can get in the cosmetic department at Walmart. They sell these Q-tips, cosmetic Q-tips that are basically 3 different types. And what I like is this particular one, because it has a pointed end and it has a nice flat end. And that's great for getting in these cracks and getting the excess wiped off. So as you can see, now the car has had a complete coat of grime on it. Let's see if I can give you a better shot here. So our nice clean car is starting to take a nice used but not abused look. So as you can see, the nice dirt debris that has kicked up along the bottom of the car, the Western Maryland Oxide Red now has a more darker faded look to it. And that completes this particular step. Stand by for the next. Alrighty, I'm back with you. Now, the next step, and I must caution you, if you use this step, be very, very light with it. But MIG makes a product called Rainmark Effects. It's great for getting that faded look. You can see streaking right after a rain, but I do advise you to use caution because you can very easily overdo this step. You can elect to skip this step if you want, but basically what I do, I just kind of run some streaks down the panel to where you get a nice little faded effect. And that's about it. That's just pretty much pushing it. You can actually see it better if you're looking at the piece than seeing it here on this video in this poor lighting. I stand by for the next step. Okay, here we go on the final part of airbrushing, and basically this is another step. You want to be very light, very particular with where you're putting it, but I'm going to use an AK crusted rust, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of rusting here and there to the side of the car. So I want to get a streak going down right from the door channel and a little bit along the bottom of the door. Again, hit this door channel. There you can see I'm going to let that rust get a little bit into that weathering. Now's a good time to give a light rusting right around the trucks. Bit around the trucks and a little more around the door channels again. And some right around the bottom of the doors. And that's about the extent of that. Alright, hold on for the next step. Alrighty, well, we're finally at the final part of airbrushing paint, and what we're going to do is use some burnt umber acrylic. No preference to any brand. I just happened to get this at the craft store, and we're just basically going to hit that around the trucks and the couplers and the wheels, so that what we get is a two-tone rust effect. Let's see if I can hold this for you. Okay, so I'm just going to lightly hit around the journal boxes and the tops of the springs. And I'm also spraying the hub of the wheel, turning the wheel as I spray, just giving it light shots to darken in the hub. And I'll take a little alcohol and Q-tip and kind of wipe the excess off. Don't know if you can see that or not. We'll get a better look at it when we get it on the layout and a little bit better lighting. So I'm going to finish the other side up, and then I'll be right back with the final part of this. Alrighty, well, we're getting down to the final nitty-gritty. Basically, the last steps of this is we're going to be attending to the trucks and the couplers. And what we're going to be doing is applying Vallejo pigments in rust color. And I'm going to just be using two different shades of rust. This is the first one in the darker of the two to look like older rust, and then I'll be finishing it up with a coat of a little bit lighter rust. And basically what we're just doing is applying some pigment in around the journal boxes, top of the springs, and we'll do the same thing for around the couplers, just getting that nice rusty metal look for in the couplers. So let me get this coat finished, and I'll put it back on for the second coat, and then we'll show the finished product on the layout. Alrighty, well, we're at the very end here. I've applied some of the darker rust to the trucks in around the journal boxes and around the coupler. That was with the dark red rust. Now we're going to apply this nice coat of lighter rust, and we're also going to add this time a little bit of this rust to some of this rust streaking we did on the body, and that's mainly to give it texture. So using a Q-tip, I'll just look at where I've put rust on the body, and I'll just apply lightly a little bit to kind of darken it up, give it a little bit of texture. Same thing around the trucks. We're applying a second color, adding texture, and then we'll do the same thing around the couplers. All right, let me finish this car, and then we'll scoot over to the layout, and we'll show you the finished product. Alrighty, well, that's it. Here we are at Mill Creek. The car has been put on the subdivision and back in service. And as you can see, it's just a nice used but not abused freight car used in everyday service. This will be the one side. Let me pause and turn it around so you can see the other side of what we did. Alrighty, well, and here's the other side of what we had done. I hope that everyone has enjoyed the how-to on this. I will put this on YouTube, hopefully later on this evening. But I hope everyone got a little something out of this, and may attempt to try some weathering and enjoy it. All right, hope you've all had fun. Bye for now.